Hi guys, this is Mrs. Hayes and we're watching Video Notes 1.9. We got more word problems, and tonight, well, it's tonight for me, but you're probably not watching it at night. Pythagorean theorem is the idea on the first couple of examples we're going to do. I'm not sure if you remember that from 8th grade, so let's take a look at it. The Pythagorean theorem is right here, highlighted in yellow. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And if you remember, it's used to find the length of missing sides of a right triangle. Yeah, what is that mess? Oh boy. The length of sides of a right triangle. Right triangle. So in the first example, it's worked out. It says the length of one side of a square. Oh, it's a square. That means it's got right angles. Look at that. It's 13, so that means all the sides are 13. What's the length to the nearest foot, which tells me I'm going to be doing some rounding, of a diagonal of the square. So they drew in this diagonal, and they labeled it x. All right, so x is our unknown. You could say x is the diagonal. And if you remember from let statements you've been working on, you could say let x equal the diagonal. Anyways, they set up this little equation using the Pythagorean theorem. Start with your equation that you don't know. Well, that you know, but you don't know any variables. And then you fill in your missing parts. So remember that the a and the b are the legs. The a squared and the b squared, those are the legs. And the c squared on the other side, that's your hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is the longest side. So that would be the diagonal in this case. So we got 13 squared for one side, 13 squared for the other side. Add those together, 338. The step that's not shown here is to get rid of the square, we had to take a square root. So on my calculator, I did the square root of 338, and I got 18.38477, blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. It's an irrational number, if you remember from earlier on. So x equals 18 feet, rounded to the nearest foot. All right, so question 2. Adam is building a slide for his kids. If the ladder is 6 foot tall, the ladder going up to a slide is pretty much they climb straight up. Slide comes down, right? The ladder is 6 feet. He wants the bottom of the slide to be 10 feet from the ladder. So he wants this distance to the bottom of the slide. I got to draw this. I just feel like drawing a little kid going down the slide. And here's the mud puddle he's going to end up in. Anyways, the bottom of the slide is 10 feet, okay? That's going to form a right angle. And how long does the slide need to be? I'm going to let x be representing the length of the slide. This is interesting. Leaving your answer in simplest radical form we'll have to talk about in a minute. I'm noticing it's a right triangle. I have a leg, another leg. They form the right angle. I have the hypotenuse over here. So 6 squared and 10 squared will equal x squared. If you don't remember the theorem, it's a squared and b squared equals c squared. I should have started with that. Now I'm going to calculate. So this is 36 and this is 100. 6 times 6. You know that 6 squared means 6 times 6. You know that 10 squared means 10 times 10. So 136 is equal to x squared. When I take a square root to get the x alone, I'm looking at the square root of 136, and it needs to be in simplest radical form. That means divide out the perfect square factors. Perfect square factors. You can't have any more perfect square factors. So I'm going to look at my calculator with the number 136 divided by 2. I didn't get a perfect square. I got 68. 136 divided by 3. I didn't get something that divides evenly. It just left it as a fraction. When I divided by 4, I got 34. So 4 is the perfect square factor, and 34 is what's left. So I'm just going to rewrite this. We'll do more practice with that throughout the year, but for now, just You write it as a product of the two things, factors, and this one's the perfect square, which is a 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So they wanted you to leave it as 2 radical 34. It means 2 times the square root of 34. Weird way to leave it since you're talking about the length in feet. But anyways. All right, additional word problems. This one is not going to necessarily be a Pythagorean theorem. It's just a random additional problem. Gloria is putting a rectangular pond in her backyard. So right away, I draw the worst rectangle I think I've ever drawn. So I draw a rectangular pond. Weird that she's doing a rectangular pond, but anyways, around the pond, she wants to put a mulch path. That's not so weird. A lot of people do that. So she's going to put this pathway around, just like you would put concrete around your pool. She's going to put a mulch pathway. So we'll pretend this is mulch, right? Okay. So there's our mulch, yippee. And it's going to be X feet wide. So from the pond to the outside edge, that's an X. Or from the pond to the outside edge, that's an X. So it's X straight out from the pond, all the way around. X, X, okay. The width of the pond is 7, length is 8. So I'll say this is 7, this is 7, this is 8, this is 8. Find the width of the pathway. I called that X. So basically I have to find X if the perimeter of the path and pond is 36. Okay, so perimeter means add up all the sides. So here we go. Oh, wait a minute, pathway and pond. So that means I'm going from here to here. This originally was 8, but I have an additional X on both ends. So it's 8 and an X and an X. I could add those together and call that 8 plus 2X. All right, that means this top edge is also 8 plus 2X. And this edge that used to be 7 has an X and an X. So this is 7 plus 2X's, and this is 7 plus 2X's. Could have said 7 plus X, combine like terms. So back to the fact that perimeter means add up all the sides. I'm going to start with 7 plus 2X. Walking around the shape, I have an 8 plus 2X next. Going down this side, 7 plus 2X. And back to where I started from, another 8 plus 2X. That total is 36, because they gave you that. Combining like terms, 7, 8, 7, 8. That's like saying 15 and 15, so that's a 30. The other guys I can combine are 2, 4, 6, 8 X's. And that's going to equal 36. I have to solve now for X. I'm going to subtract the 30. I'm trying to get the X alone. I have 8X equals 6. Divide away the 8. And I get X equals 3/4 feet. Or it's a rational number, fractional or decimal will be fine. 0.75 feet. That's how wide the pathway would be. So that's how far off the pool, the garden, you would be. All right, thank you for joining me. Make sure you are taking a look at how to set these up. That's usually the hard part. Have a good night.